Hello, and thank you for joining me for Act 2 of my book, The Reckoning. To those who hide their pain inside because of guilt or shame, to those who stand in silence, afraid they'll get shushed away, to anyone who's hid their tears not to ruin someone's day, your humbleness in suffering will be rewarded well one day. Some of us are here to teach, and others here to learn. In order for that to happen, we each must take a turn. One of us must light the match for the other one to burn. It's in failures, not perfection, that experience is earned. We are seeing mass rises in mental disorders. Yet instead of helping one another, we heighten our borders. We can't walk alone through this maze they have built. Having depression shouldn't make you feel guilt. So many people fighting battles within, even though who they are is not who they've been. We are only as strong as our weakest link. Humanity at odds will cause us to sink. We all have moments that we look back on and aren't completely proud of who we were or what choice we made. Life will back us into a corner, and that is when we need to choose love, when it is the hardest. How we respond to those hurdles meant to break us is exactly what ends up shaping our capabilities used to help us navigate the journey ahead. We are allowed to make mistakes, but not to let mistakes make us. You are not your bad days. You are your energy. You are love. Poetry is the soul speaking in cursive. Music's when it comes to life. It is meant to be detersive. Connection to another follows relation with yourself. You'll have to find the books of you and dust them off the shelf. Art comes in many forms, several ways to show a heart, so we get to feel each other even when we are apart. Music reminds us that we are all the same. You can paint a masterpiece that inspires massive change, or even create an epic dance that will make the whole world sway. Comedy keeps friendships thriving each and every day. Everyone has art to offer. Each one inspires change. We all relate through struggle, regardless of the range. When we lean on one another, then we each can make it through these battles on the inside, mending each heart's black and blue. Healing comes more freely when there's a purpose for the pain. Art speaks for those emotions that are too deep to explain. Art is a glimpse of the soul, and the eyes are the window. Sometimes when we have an overwhelming amount of emotion, love pours from both. Right now in our world we need love, so much love. We can only do it wrong for so long before we need to make it right or admit defeat. Our earth, our planet, our home needs us now more than ever. We need to push aside the politics and start to rebuild from the ground up. Rebuilding can look like anything. We just need to start. At every locked door, I kicked my way in. I knew I was meant to be more than I'd been. Where a window exists not, I'd punch through a hole. Improving myself was the only real goal. It mattered to me not how tough it would be. Once you make it through hell, your heart can be free. Even if, when the smoke clears, everyone flee, you can follow your own path and refuse to agree. Choices for yourself are made by you alone. When you stand up solo, you'll get to see how you have grown. No matter what they throw at you, they can't force you from your zone. Now that it's proven you can't break me, please stand back and clear my throne. Making yourself vulnerable by getting out there and sharing your voice, your art, or your ideas can be pretty scary at first. Humans with no humanity, that's a recipe for disaster. When we behave like muted sheep, it only intensifies their laughter. If you think we are declining now, just wait, we can do it faster. It's not actually your belongings, it's your very soul they're after. Too many people staying silent about the rights we all deserve. Just having to reiterate that Black lives do matter puts us years behind the curve. We are here to create, to grow, and to love, not consume, conform, and serve. But so few are allowed to access the human decencies that we all deserve. We are trapped inside a hateful system that so many refuse to see. They will not care for or save you, regardless of your pleas. The time to talk of change is over. It's clear our strategies aren't helping. Dogs used to be locked in cages, but now it's children yelping. If that last line is hard to swallow, you're on the right track. We've been playing in a game that's rigged, and now it's time to take it back. I just know I don't belong here. I'll forever return to this, not knowing where I fit. Emotions too wild and free to restrain, but I lay on my floor all alone once again. I grab my pen to release when there's feelings I can't hide. Emotions rush through and inundate, too intensely to keep hostage inside. If you try to outrun your problems, they will not just merely subside. Whatever's meant to find you will search endlessly till you collide. Trapped in a world that doesn't get it, although if given a chance they could. But we're forced to work tirelessly and to harden our hearts instead of living freely as we should. Living crazed without a purpose cannot result in any good. What's more important to your legacy than the trajectory of your word and how firmly behind it you stood? Love provides the only justification for the meaning of our call. The moment your heart feels it, you'll find the answers for every fall. I have no room for hate in my heart, and that used to be part of my problem. If you don't allow your life to be filled with an abundance of love, then that leaves room for hate. You search endlessly until you find the path that provides you with access to love. Why would you settle for anything less? I have no room for hate in my heart because I focus on filling it with the things that bring me peace. Hate is like a magnet, pulls more fiercely as it's fed, continues till you reach the floor where all the demons tread. Each time you cut others, it was you, not them, that bled. Life pays you back proportionately for each evil that you've shed. You ascend higher as you learn to let purposeful suffering go. Except that without it, there'd be so much you'd never know. Perfection teaches nothing, leaves no room for one to grow. For your weightless soul to fly, you must eliminate the ego. It takes energy to produce hate, and in a world that tries its damnedest to keep us numb, sometimes the intensity of an emotion like hate is all we can conjure up to allow us to feel alive. Sometimes feeling anything is better than the nothingness of feeling numb. We need to want to do better. We need to do better. Sometimes my best comes up short. That doesn't mean I'll quit. I won't take a single of my mistakes and put someone else's name on it. No matter how many times I fall to my knees, in prayer or plain exhaustion, I remember that the life I envision is worth every drop of blood and tear it's costin'. When we allow our ego to make decisions for us, we build up a wall that halts our ability for any more personal growth. It can be hard to put down your pride and admit that you've made a mistake. Regardless, we are still responsible for owning our story and everything that has happened within it. And that includes those moments when you see yourself self-destructing and seemingly cannot do a darn thing to make it stop. You are not alone. Accept help if it's offered, and seek help if it's not. Because at the end of the day, your mental health management is a responsibility for you and you alone. As much as we may want to, we ultimately cannot reassign that responsibility to anyone else. Not even partially, not even temporarily. I've always had the dreams, seeing myself thriving, yet here I am, barely surviving, trapped in this delusional tale in which my soul is a captive, within the shell of this human skin, which is prison, albeit adaptive. Not sure how to break the spell of our natural urge to be combative, reaching out to those around, but all I get is ceaseless static. I think it's time to let it go and become eternally nomadic. Life is full of rushing, hurrying about here, running to there. At some point, I decided to give up the rushing. Where am I rushing to, first of all? Secondly, maybe if I am trying to rush away from my current situation or lifestyle, perhaps I should first resolve the issues so they don't follow me into my future to be dealt with later. A race with no clear finish line. A journey that's difficult to define. A test that breaks, then makes you, regardless of your will. Every human rushing, to where, we do not know. And since no one was sure, we believed our purpose was to grow. So we all dove deep into our work, competition constantly being grown. We focused so much on getting rich, we forgot to build our homes. Houses lined up side by side, stacked up to the sky. People living everywhere, but where does love reside? We're filling fancy houses to build up our disguise, but a world full of no families will lead straight to our demise. We imagine running towards a finish line, where all of our pain can finally begin to subside. We were falsely coerced into belief that of the trophy, others would be the thief. So we saw each other as obstacles from which we must outrun, instead of blooming toward each other like intended, since time begun. We learn about the world outside without ever learning what's within, because deep within your own heart is where the journey must begin. You must realize that life is not as it seems to even play the game, because if everything was all spelt out for you, the growth wouldn't be the same. Everything is endless, like rain falling from the sky, so the fact that we are too shouldn't come as a surprise. If you think that life's a journey, you can overcome yourself. This poem used to have a different ending, but I changed it in this version of the book. In my experience, I believe you can truly overcome anything yourself. And yes, I know I am slightly contradicting my own poetry. However, in the long journey that is life, to choose to even try and go about it solo would be missing out on one of life's greatest gifts, companionship. Free falling to rock bottom, as each of us must do, you first need something to live for in order to have it to lose. You can't learn from perfection, and so you'll have to choose who and what deserves your heart, and the rest you'll have to lose. As humans, we learn from suffering, though while hurting, that's hard to believe. To comprehend true happiness, you'll first need to learn to grieve. There is no coming full circle if we always stay the same. Struggles bring us strength, and that strength helps keep us sane. We can't force unity upon the nations until there's peace within ourselves. We claim to have our freedoms as we're trapped in invisible cells. It's in our nature to need each other. We're made of love, not hate. It does no good to anyone when we're forced to separate. A truce throughout the world starts with peace within our hearts, making self-love and acceptance a real fine place to start. So many people undervaluing relationships and family time because we are overvaluing materialistic, superficial, surface-level things that do not move us any closer to fulfillment or true happiness. The material world is just as it sounds. It provides diamonds but not any depth. When your soul needs to shine, weakness is found. since the fires haven't tested you yet. For we are born long before the shells of our skin, and before you ask me if I want to bet, love someone who's survived the fires of hell, and someone who hasn't just yet. There's an aging of souls, a ridding of evil. Once you root and you grow like a tree, let them cuddle their riches and not do their own dishes, as we fly off, happy and free. Imagine you have all the material goods that your heart could imagine, but not one single person to share it with, that will love you for you and not for that which you can give them. The epitome of loneliness in the game of life. That's a loss. Waking up daily, confined to the cell inside my mind. Outside it looks like all is well, but the war rages on inside. Emotions serve as prison guards and seclude me at their will from any space, sight, or sound that may lead me to heal. I have no scheduled date to go. It's up to me to do. I'll have to crawl and climb and run before depression forms its coup. Chances are slim of making it out. I'll go down, under, and through. The battle that rages in all of our minds. I know that you feel it too. Separate conflicts linger in all of our heads, for no one is immune. We're fighting a war all on the same side in different battle rooms. It's old versus new, you versus you, and once you come to find, obtaining that mental freedom is more possible than you thought, for the key you've possessed always inside. No matter how much hate this world throws at us, no matter how dark the night, look with your eyes but see with your soul. We are beautiful chaos, so slice me in half and beat me till I'm blue. There's not a force on this earth that could keep my soul from you. But please don't take that to mean the roads have not been bumpy, because bumpy they were. Frustration takes over every fiber of my being. If I close my eyes hard enough, I can see myself fleeing to somewhere warm and stressless where I can do some sightseeing. Release all of the negativity spoiling my well-being. I'd run till I passed out if I knew that I could see whatever's waiting across that mountaintop for me. In facing my demons, I never plotted escape, but frustration will cause the brain itself to reshape. When you can't fix what's outside, you bring it within, shoving all of that pressure deep under your skin. Some things we can't change, we must leave them to fate. But patience is not the most natural trait. Fear will produce anger, and anger to rage. So it's better to leave them both locked in their cage. I gotta have faith that there's a purpose for this, that one day maybe I will sit to reminisce. I'll ponder how I made it there to finally earning bliss. Chopped the head right off that snake, now you'll never hear him hiss. I am frustrated when I look around at how humans are treating other humans. It was never intended to be this way, but we cannot fix it until we accept and acknowledge where we are as a whole. Human beings, being there for human beings because life is super hard sometimes. So why do we feel the need to make it harder for ourselves and for those around us? Everyone is equal, no matter your color, background, wealth, status. Money makes the world go wrong, not go round. No borders, no nations, no colors, no prejudice. Just people. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon for Act 3.